guys, Kevin with Screaming Chicken here. Today we're going to show you how to install front and rear speakers in a 98 Trans Am to go from this mess to good clean sound.
Alright, we're going to be putting these Rockford Fosgate P1675s into the B-pillar speaker area. These will fit in a 4th gen Camaro or Trans Am. One thing to note on these is these are a 4 ohm speaker, so these will not work with your factory amp. We're going to be installing an aftermarket amp in the following video, so this is just getting set up and ready for it. Okay, once you're inside the car, the first thing you'll have to do is remove this speaker grill. All you got to do is kind of take your fingers and pinch, pull up, slash out, and it just kind of clips into place. There we go. As you see, there's no speaker in this car currently, so all we have to do is make our wiring connection for the speaker and then install the speaker using the included hardware that comes with the speakers. It comes with screws and little replacement clips if you need them. So unfortunately right now, no one's making an adapter for this 4-plug harness that comes factory in the car. So what you'll have to do is cut the plug off and crimp on speaker wire adapters to plug in your speakers. Okay, now that we've made our connections, we'll just plug them into the speaker here, and then we'll take the speaker and set into place, and we'll take our included hardware and this part's a little bit tricky to hold in place and get where you need it. Then you just take and screw it in. Now these little clips sometimes can move around a little bit, so what I like to do is take and get all of the screws started, and that way if you need to kind of loosely reach your finger back in there and move a clip, you can. Okay, so this clip here has slid down some, so I'm going to use my screwdriver to slide it back over into place if I can. Okay guys, I got the screws all screwed in. I had to go get me a little pick to pull this one clip back over to get it into place. And then you'll take your cover and just slide the tops into place, and then just kind of push it up into the side, and there's a handful of clips. You got it all back installed. Okay, now we're going to replace the speakers and the doors. Here we have a 98 through 02 Trans Am. You're going to start with removing, there's a trim piece here that has one screw with a Phillips. There's the trim piece that holds your power windows and lock that just pops out with 2 clips. And then there's another trim piece here that has one screw right about here that you'll remove. I've already started taking this door panel apart and removed all the screws. There's one here. There's going to be one up under the handle here and one up under the handle here. And then from there, you should just lift up, and you may have to wiggle a little, and the door panel should come off. Okay, once you've got the panel removed, I'm going to pull this insulation back. Someone has replaced the speakers in this car once before already, so it's got some random other stuff that you may or may not see in your car. We're going to start by removing the speaker here. There should be 4 screws. This has 4 hex-headed screws. You may have regular Phillips headed screws if someone has been in the car before. You want to make sure to support the speaker when you get to your last screw. and pull this out. In this particular case, I will just disconnect it from this box here. And we'll pull out this wire. I'm going to disconnect the wiring coming from the stereo or factory amp from this box as well. And then they have 2 screws holding this box in. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and remove this as well. This part, if no one has been in here and installed this, this is an aftermarket part. If you don't have this, then you don't have to worry about this step. Okay, I've got our new speaker here, and we've got an adapter that will allow us to plug directly into the car wiring so that we don't have to splice anything. And then with these speakers, because they have a tweeter with them as well, they're a dual connection speaker. So I've already ran a wire to go to my tweeter that I'm going to feed through the hole in the door. And then I'll add some crimps to this in just a moment, and I'll show you that, guys, in a second. This we will plug directly into our factory wiring harness. That'll click in. I'll go ahead and feed my tweeter wire back up through here. There we go. And pull that through. And then we'll just take the 4 screws that held on the original speaker and screw those back in to hold this in place. Okay, now that those are tightened back up, I'm going to take you up to the workbench and show you the back of the door panel and what we did to install the tweeters without changing the door panel so everything still looks stock in the car. Okay, here we have the back of the door panel. You can see, like I said, someone else has been in here before and put in a set of speakers. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece here and remove this tweeter, and then we're going to do something kind of similar to this with a little bit better equipment and do something similar here as well. I'll try to get you a better shot of it with the new tweeter, and that way the outside of your door panel still looks completely stock. Okay, I do want to go ahead and mention that if you're not concerned with the factory look, you can remove this small tweeter panel here. That is this panel here. And the tweeter does come apart, and you can set it in there, and you will probably have to use a little bit of silicone or super glue or something like that to make sure it stays in there well. However, we are going to use this little bracket that I just bent up. This bracket is using material that's used for door lock and unlock modules in aftermarket keyless entry and alarms. Give me just a second so I can get that in there, and I'll show you the final product. Okay, as you can see, I just kind of wedged one end up under one of the little clips for the factory cover, and then I leave just a little extra on here so that when I put the screw in, it gives me a little bit of tension, and that helps press this into place better. And then one thing you do want to make sure is you're on the edge of this so that you don't go through your panel. There's a little bit of extra room on each side if you wanted to do it to this side or to this side. You just have to make sure you stay within the reach of how much overhang you have. I'm going to do a little bit of wiring off camera that I will show you when I'm done. It's just a couple of spade connectors, cutting this wire to length to plug into the other speaker wire that I pulled through the door earlier. I'll come back with that and show you how simple it is, and one little trick I do to make sure that I always get the wires correct and I'm never crossing them. Okay, we're back over here at the door now. And the little wiring trick I wanted to show you was, I'm trying to get up close here and make sure that you can see inside these, is one wire has a male connector and one has a female connector. And then you do the opposites on the tweeter, and that way if you ever have to pull this panel again to do any kind of maintenance on a window regulator or something like that, you never have to worry about them getting mixed up because they'll only connect one way. So we're going to bring our door panel back over. We're going to connect up our tweeter. These are just male and female sides for spade connectors. They're nothing special. You can pick them up just about anywhere. Just slide the little bit of extra wire we have back into the door, and then the door panel has several little latches that you'll just pick up. You'll have to kind of feel for them before you slide them back in. And then you want to make sure you get your wiring back through the proper holes. So you want to bring it in through the bottom here and pull it through. And then, like I said, you'll just lift the door panel up a little bit high and slide it down. It's got several of these little hooks that will slide down into these holes on the door to hold it in place. Okay, I've wrestled the door panel back on. Sometimes you have to play with them, moving them up and down and kind of diagonal a little bit. Now I'm going to take my screws to hold my door panel on. And there's one that goes right here. And this screwdriver probably looks a little bit big for this particular one. But when we get to the one that's down here, you need a little longer screwdriver. Now I'll bring you guys back at the next step. The next step is you're going to put your trim piece on. One thing you're going to want to make sure you do is there is a small light that goes in here. I've got it here. And then you're going to want to make sure that your door lock bar comes up into this when you slide it over. So we'll start with just go ahead and putting our light back in. This just kind of clicks in, and you just pull your door handle out a little bit. It gives you a little more leeway. Check the door lock and power window connector back down in the hole, and then just slide all this kind of back into place. You have to work it just a little. It's nothing too bad. It's just turning and making sure it goes where you need it. Okay, that's where it needs to go. We just got to get this wire tucked back into the door. There we go. And then my door lock bar is sticking through. And then we'll have a screw here. And we'll reconnect our window and door switches here. They just press on, and then this clips down in there. So we'll go ahead and get that on. And then that just presses down into place and slides through all this. We'll take our door lock slider. It just slides in there, and the little bar that sticks up goes right there in the hole. You put some pressure on it and it'll click on. And then we have a screw here, and our mirror trim piece is going to go right up here, and it's got two little pins that'll slide into. There's two small holes just like that. And then you'll just put in this last screw that I've got here, and you're fully reassembled. Okay, on the 97 through 2002 Firebirds and Trans Ams, a lot of them came equipped with the monsoon system from the factory. That gave you 6 speaker locations. You had a speaker and a tweeter in the door, a speaker in your B-pillar, and then you had this speaker set up in the rear. We're deleting these. You don't get a whole lot of sound. As you can see, they're very small. These aren't the factory ones, but they don't put out a whole lot of sound. You get plenty out of your other locations. These just blow right up into your hatch. So you have a couple of options when you get ready to rewire this system, because with the new speakers, they're all based around a 4 ohm system. Your factory amp is built on a 2 ohm system, so they do not play well together. You've got a couple of options. You can bypass this amp like what we're doing, and you're gonna take and connect from behind the stereo what color wires go back to each speaker. And if you're putting in a new radio like we're going to do, you have a little cheat sheet that you can follow back with your wiring adapter. And then I wrote down what colors were in each location just to confirm after I had everything buttoned up, so that I know what to connect to back here from the front to go to each speaker. One important note, these orange wires are power. Don't cut through them unless you have the battery disconnected. You might get a tingle. And then you can do that, or you can put a aftermarket stereo in and an aftermarket amp and just run RCAs back. And then you can either run new wires to your speakers, or you can connect back here with the notes that you made for what goes to where. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this helps you with your speaker swap outs and installs on a 4th gen Firebird Trans Am. Here at Screaming Chicken, we also offer other audio stuff. We have Kenwood and Pioneer speakers. We have amps, radio kits, radios. We went with the Rockford Fosgate speakers in this, but all of our speaker options are great. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you guys next week.